Neil Barker from Manchester runs a page on Facebook called Popscene. And we asked him to join us to offer a counterpoint album review. We will combine the scores, divide it by 200, and that will be the album score. So it won't just be my view that counts in this case. Running commentary. We are exploring listening to albums. It is a lost art form. Madness, The Rise and Fall. Madness, The Rise and Fall was released in November of 1982 together with the single Our House, which for the first time scored Madness a huge record. Top 10, in fact. This was followed up by Tomorrow's Just Another Day in February of 1983, which was a double A-side with Madness is All in the Mind. Neil, did you want to talk a little bit about your feelings toward the single Our House?
Yeah, I can do. The thing is with Our House, I know it's become such a famous song now, and obviously it was their one big hit in America, wasn't it? But at the time the album came out, it hadn't been released as a single, so I was hearing it for the first time. When I listened to it the day I bought it, it was just another track on the album, and I thought it was a great track, but it was very catchy. But I think since it's been released as a single and then obviously became a big hit here in America, it's sort of taken on a life of its own. So, I mean, I do like it. I wouldn't say it was my favourite Madness single, but I'd say it was the best single they put out in 1982. Because before the album they'd obviously had big hits with House of Fun and Driving in My Car, which I think are probably two of their weaker singles. So it was an improvement on those, and I think it actually, even though it got to number 5, it actually sold more copies than House of Fun because it was a Christmas seller. So it did actually sell, because House of Fun it sort of entered the chart high and dropped quickly. So yeah, I still like it, but it feels like it doesn't really belong on the album now for me, and it'd be a track I would probably skip. Whereas Tomorrow's Just Another Day, probably because it's not as overplayed, I still feel like it belongs on the album. So,
Great. I think with my view of Our House, the most significant thing about Our House is this big ambitious string that starts the song off in a way that no other Madness song starts with such ambition. In terms of what the song talks about, to me, the reason I didn't necessarily empathize with the song is it didn't strike... It was a song that talked about other people's lives and not my life. I didn't have siblings, so it didn't resonate with me in that way. There was a sadness to it as well, in terms of the fact that he seemed to be talking about Our House in the past tense, as though this was something that didn't exist anymore. And I do think you're right in that the single took on a life of its own. It became a people song. In fact, I don't know if you recently saw when they used Our House to do with Alexandra Palace. I guess there was some kind of campaign to keep Alexandra Palace open or something. And then there was a crowd of people singing it. I don't know if you've seen that promotional thing, but yeah, very interesting. Very strange song. I think it's one of the strangest Madness songs there are, and there are a few of them. But to me, it was a song that was for other people. Here in the